Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. My name is Kelly and this is my dog Anya, and this is the channel that's all about teaching you how to create print-on-demand designs using Canva. So if that's something that you're interested in learning, go ahead and stick around. So in today's video, we're going to be going over how to create this design right here. This is a very colorful, popping design. It has 4 different color boxes and it has some funny looking cats and sunglasses with opposite colors on them. So it's a silly design, it's a fun design, and it can be done with just about anything. So you can take this technique and then you can substitute dogs, you can substitute flowers, you can substitute shells, you can substitute pretty much anything that you can think of that you might want to substitute and just kind of reuse this design style for a whole bunch of different things. So it's pretty simple once you learn how to do it. So if this is something that you're interested in, go ahead and stick around. So as always, we are going to start with our blank backdrop. It is 4500 by 5400 pixels because that is the standard t-shirt size for merch by Amazon. I am going to be designing on black, so I'm going to go ahead and just select the background color up here on the left, and I'm going to start with black. Now for today's design, we are going to be doing something that incorporates 4 different color boxes, and to make sure that they're all the same size and that they line up properly, I'm going to want to use some of the margins on the page or the rulers to help guide me. So if you come up to File and you click there, it'll say Show Rulers and Guides. So you'll want to pick that. And what that does is it gives you these guides up here at the top and on the side. And what we can do is we can pull some lines to make sure that everything looks, good and lined up. So for example, if I click on the left and then I, click on the left and drag over, I can go ahead and center this right in the middle of the page. So now I have my center line and it's going to stay there until I pull it off. So now that I know what my center line looks like, I'm going to go ahead and pick some squares. So I'm going to go ahead, I can just hit S on the keyboard and it will come up, R, rectangle, R on the keyboard, and it will come up with a square. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull this sucker out and kind of make it whatever size I think kind of looks good. So I'm going to start there. So now that I have my square, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate it. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hit Control D 3 times, and then I can bring my squares over and they will be the same size because I duplicated it, so I don't have to worry about making sure I got them all the right size. And then I can line them up like this. And so you can see how I can line everything up, make sure it all looks like it's lined up real good. And so that looks pretty cool. I can take the center line off if I want to see the spacing. Okay, so I'd actually like them to be spaced a little bit closer together. I think those are kind of wide gaps. So I'm going to bring my center line back. And I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. Now don't worry again about it not filling the whole page because we can always resize it to fill the page later. I just want to make sure that I'm getting my proportions and everything right. Okay, so that looks pretty good. If I'm not sure about this gap and this gap, again, I can do the same thing, pull a line from the top down into the center here and sort of eyeball and see, does that look pretty even all the way around? And I'm going to say, yeah, it looks pretty good. So now that I have my 4 squares and they all look pretty good, pretty evenly spaced, this is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to go ahead and make them some colors. So I want this to be a really bright design. And so I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to make this first box, I'm going to make it a bright yellow color. Okay. In fact, I'm going to make it brighter than that. I'm going to come bring it way bright. So something like that. I want a nice bright yellow. Right next to it, I'm going to go ahead and pick a teal color. So I'm going to come up and we're going to go with some nice bright teal. actually kind of like the way that is by itself. I'm going to go to the next box. This one I'm going to make pink. And you can select any colors you want. I'm just trying to pick, you know, some good bright colors. And then the very last box, this one I'm going to make maybe like an orange color that I'm going to play with quite a bit. Something, again, really bright. Maybe a little bit more into the redder zone, only because I want it to kind of clash with that a little bit. So something like that. So I got my 4 really bright colors. Again, you can pick whichever colors you want as long as they're sort of bright and a little bit contrasty. So now that I have this where I want it, I don't want it to move. I'm gonna go ahead and lock these boxes to the page because I do not want to accidentally move them when I have them right where I want them. So, oh man, this hates me. I'm gonna click and drag over all 4. I can now group them together and I can lock them to the page. And so now they will not accidentally go anywhere. So this is what I'm designing on. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna pick some animals to put in the frame. So you can pick dogs, cats, birds, frogs, fish, whatever you want. I suppose it doesn't have to be animals. They could be flowers. And so this design can really work with anything. So pick a theme and go with it. To make it easy, I'm going to go ahead and pick cats just because that's a pretty simple one to do. So I'm going to come up to elements and I'm going to search for cats. Okay, so I'm going to be using photos because we're going to use some photo effects on here. And so one thing I've showed you how to do in earlier videos is just sort of select every cat that you think might be an option. It's going to make it easier to choose from. So any cat that you think might be an option, we can just drag over to the page and use that way. So what I'm looking for is something that's a little bit more of like a portrait. I want it to have some lights and darks. So I don't want it to be all black and I don't want it to be all white because I'm going to go ahead and use a photo effect feature and I need to have some highlights and lowlights. So something like that one might work. And so I'm just going to scroll down and pick anything that I think might be a good possibility. I want it to fit in the frame good, so I don't necessarily want the body on it. I do want to be able to just sort of get a head. And so this is where you kind of take your time again, go through all the pictures, figure out which ones you want. If you can get something that you know, has good expression or is a little bit funny, that's also great. This one's kind of cool, but I'm not a big fan of the collar here. So again, take your time. This one I like, that's cool because I can cut it off there. It's got the paw up. I think that's kind of funny. That one's a cool photo effect one. Here's one, the head's kind of tilted. Oh, this kitty's missing an eye. Okay, well, maybe not that kitty. I'm gonna keep coming. Here's one making a really funky face. That one might be a good one there. So again, anything that might be an option, we're gonna go ahead and pull up. I'm looking for something that I can just kind of crop in on the face. I need it to have lights and darks. A good expression is a plus, but not necessary for the design. You know, like, oh, here's a cute one. That's just a regular cute little cat face. You can do a weird looking cat, so something like that might be funny. Something like this one might be funny because he's got different colors to him. You know, so you can get a variety. And so as I'm just scrolling down, I'm just kind of, he looks angry. I'm just picking ones that look like they could be possibilities. Again, trying to get a variety, making sure that I've got good lights and darks, and you'll see why for this, but, oh, that one's kind of cute. He's just sort of looking up. Oh my God, yes. Oh, if it wasn't cropping off his ear. Just because that face, right? Just that expression is awesome. You can see there's a lot of really good. And of course, if you happen to have your own pictures, you can always use your own pictures too. So you can do this with your pets, friends' pets. You can do this and make custom pet designs that you can sell for other people if they have pets. You can make it different pets. You can make one a dog, a cat, you know. a gerbil, whatever they happen to have. So there's a lot of different ways we can go with this. We are going to have to limit it down to 4. Obviously, we're going to pick 4 winners, let's say. But make sure that you get yourself a good variety to go with, and then we can kind of pick our winners from there. That's a really cute face. And again, I say don't rush the designs. You don't want to spend forever on them, obviously. If you spend too long doing a design, it's you know, that's counterproductive, but you also don't want to, you know, rush and, you know, have a crappy design that nobody wants to buy either. So it has to be good enough that somebody wants to buy it. And so take your time, make sure you get a good one, especially if you're doing it sort of as a, that one's cute too. If you're doing it as a template for other designs, if it's a scalable design, you want to make sure that you do a good job on your template so that you have something good to work from. And so you can see I could be at this for a while. I could pick a lot of different cats and make this design over and over again with different cats. And by the way, it sorts this based on the keyword that you put up here. By just changing it from cats to cat, it can sort these in a different order. So you might find that if you search cat instead of cats, you might find ones that you didn't see before, ones that they're ordered differently. And so you can always kind of play around with it if you put kitten, if you put feline. And so sometimes you can play with sort of your search results that way as well, just to make sure that you see everything. Like here's one with his little fist up. That's funny. Little fist up. I do kind of like that. I think I had that one already with the fist up. Here's another one with the fist up. And so, like that dude, angry looking dude. Anyways, I think we probably have enough. Sometimes it's just fun to look through all of these and see what I've got. Okay, so I'm gonna say I have enough. So what I'm gonna do, now that I have a lot of different choices, I'm gonna drag all of my choices off the page and you'll see what I'm gonna do here. Once I get all of my options off of the page, funny looking ones, and then twice. Now I can come up to recently used, and all of my options are gonna be at the top of my recently used. So now these are the ones that I selected as my best options, and I'm going to pick the top 4. Now I am going to do background removal. So if I pick one of these ones that has a background, I'll do background removal on it. Some of these obviously don't have a background already, and so that's kind of cool. And so as I'm looking, I'm like, I kind of like this one with his head to the side. I don't know why, it's just, it's got a cool expression. So let's say that this is one of the ones that I want to do. And bring it down. Shrink him down. So let's say he was going in this box right here. Again, I can play with it once I decide that that's the one I want, but that's a cool design there. I like the faces on both of these. I really like this one, but it's gonna cut his ear off just a little bit. But I like it so much that it might be worth it to have his ear cut off, just because it's such a cool look. I mean, so that I might do that one anyways and just have his ear go like that, because that's just hilarious. Oh, this is another funny one too. I do like that look there, that sort of smiley, scary look. Again, you know, you'll crop these however you like. What? And so you can see I'm just kind of giving myself an idea of kind of how they're gonna fit in the boxes. It doesn't have to fit perfectly right now. So far I picked all the ones that I have to remove the background on too. But that's okay, that's not a problem. So really cool, kind of funny designs. I need one more for up here. Cat with no eye. This cat's making a funny face too. I like the little fist bump cat, but you know, that one's kind of cool. I could use that one. That one's kind of cool. I like how bright the eyes are on this one, But I am thinking about putting some sunglasses on here, in which case it wouldn't matter how bright the eyes are. Kind of boring. Let's see. Let me see how this guy would look. A little pirate looking guy. Bring him in. Maybe bring that down just a smidge. Be like, how would that face look? This is the only one not making a weird face. He's just kind of like, what are these guys doing? Okay. All right, so I took a long time, but these are the ones I'm going to use. That was just, it was fun. So always make sure your design's fun. This is meant to be a fun popping design. So I'm going to go ahead then and use a background removal on these three. So easy does it. Background removal. And again, if you want to make sure that you didn't accidentally miss anything, you can hit erase or restore and it'll pull up the image. And so you can get a really good look, make sure that it's got clean edges and it's the way you like it. This one looks pretty good, so I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm going to move on to my next one. Edit image, and I'm going to do the background removal again. And it does sometimes take a minute, so we just kind of sit and wait. At this point, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments section below, and I will get back to them as quickly as I can. Go again. That one looks pretty clean, so I'm going to leave that one alone, and then I've just got one more. This one has kind of a busier background, so I'm really hoping that it works out okay. Background removal, because I just really think that that's a fun face. Looks good. It looked like it worked. Erase. Wow. Yeah, that turned out pretty clean. It even looks like it got right around the whiskers, so I'm pretty happy with the way that one worked. And so once I have them how I want them, I do want to make sure that they're all lined up perfectly. And this is when I want to make sure they're sized and they're lined and everything looks good. So like this guy here, and I need to bring it down just a smidge so that it lines up perfectly with the bottom. Same thing here, bring him down a smidge so that he lines up with the bottom. Make sure everything fits in the frame the way you want. So far I'm liking it. This dude here, I might make him a little bit bigger and just crop. That way he fills the frame a little bit more. So, yeah. Those are the cats that I picked. Now, we're going to go ahead and use some photo filters to give them that sort of color pop look. So what I'm going to do is sort of do a diagonal cross pattern. So this cat is going to be pink, and this cat is going to be yellow, and this cat is going to be this orange color, and this cat is going to be this teal color. So we might as well just start here. So edit image. For this one, we are going to use Duotone. And we'll give it a sec. Now there's a lot of different ones you can choose from. It doesn't really matter because you get to select the colors once you open it up anyways. So I mean, I can go with the one that's kind of the closest, but it really doesn't matter because I'm going to change the colors anyways. So you're going to be able to pick your highlights and your shadows. So for this one, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is do all of my shadows for all of the cats in black and all of the highlights in whatever color I want to pop. So for this one, my highlights is going to be the pink color that I used here. And now it's all pink now, and then my shadows are all going to be black. And so give it a second. I'm going to be doing that with all of them. And once they're done, we can adjust it too. We can play with the contrast, the lightness, the darkness, and all of that. Right now, we're just working on the color shift. I hit Duotone again. This guy is going to be sort of a yellow and black. Again, doesn't matter which one we pick because we're going to change the colors. So our highlight color actually looks like it's pretty close to the color I want. I'm going to use this little eyedropper here just to make sure I match the color exactly. And then my shadow, I'm going to do it that way. So far, so good. and I will move as fast as the computer will let me. Okay. Let's go ahead for our highlights. I'm going to use the eyedropper feature to make sure that I match this orange exactly. For the shadows, I'm always going to do black for all of these. And apply. And the last one I got is this guy here, edit image, and this one we're going to go ahead and do the duotone one more time. Here we go. And again, for my highlights, I'm going to make sure I'm matching this teal up here perfectly. And for the shadows, I'm going to do black. So now you can always play with all of these however you like. So here we go. So now I have all of my cats in my color pop. Now, if you want to, again, you can adjust the contrast, the lightness, the darkness at this point. So let's say I wanted to come up to this cat here. If I come over to edit image, at the top here, it'll say adjust. And at this point, I can adjust the brightness, the contrast, the saturation, and I can play with all of these until I get it kind of the way I want it. So if I decided that I like it, it looks a little dark for me and I want to make it a little lighter, you know, I can always make it a little bit lighter that way. And if I wanted to like pull up the contrast, you know, whoa, now it's really contrasty, maybe make it a little less light, maybe a little less contrasty. He's really saturated, maybe I bring that saturation down a little bit. I can really mute it, or I can really make it pop. So this is how you would go ahead and play with each of your images to really make it look however it is that you want, you know, to get whatever kind of pop look you want to get. And, you know, you can do that with all of them. You can leave them alone however you like. Again, it's always fun to sort of play with everything. I want this cat to be nice and sort of light enough to see. So I think that looks a little bit better, makes him pop a little bit more. This guy here, same thing. We'll add a little bit of contrast, and when we add a little bit of contrast, I want to make it a little lighter too. So something like that. The more contrast I add, by the way, the brighter it's going to get. So as I pull this contrast up, it's going to get really, really poppy. Now I can do that. I can bring this contrast way up and then sort of try to bring the saturation down until it's a little bit closer to matching the pink that I want. So if I wanted to give it more of that sort of pop look, I can do it that way. So again, just sort of however you want to play with these guys. Let's do this guy here. Let me give him a little bit more contrast too. Give him a little contrast. Now he's a little darker than I'd like. Now I make him a little bit brighter. You know, and so I can play with it there. Give him a little bit more contrast. So again, I've got my really funny looking cats. So now if I want to make sure that the cats don't move, I can go ahead and group these and lock these as well. So I can click anywhere I want. There we go. And group. You can call this good and leave the design just like this, or at this point, if you want to play with having it be a little bit more fun, we can try to put some sunglasses on these cats too. So I can also come up and do the same thing I did before and just search for sunglasses. And so I can do graphics, I can do photos, I guess it doesn't really matter. And I can try some different sunglasses on them. So like here's a pair of sunglasses that might look cool. I don't really like the ones that you can see through. So you see how you can kind of see through these ones? I don't know how good that's gonna look with the semi-transparency. So I usually try to pick ones that are solid that I can change the colors on, or that are just solid and I like the colors as they are. I mean, so something like this one, not super fond of it, but I can change the colors of them and it's solid all the way through. So that's more of kind of the style that I would go with. And I mean, you can see if I bring them down, I can try them on each of the cats and see if it looks good. And if it does, but like that's kind of funny. Don't know if that's exactly the ones that I would go with. But hey, let's say I like those and I want them to pop. So now I would go ahead and do an adjacent color, which would either be like the yellow color here or the pink color here, whatever I think is going to pop better. So maybe instead of that, I go ahead and try the pink. And I see if the pink pops any better. Don't like that white edge though. I can make that white edge a yellow color. Or I could just go ahead and lose the white edge entirely and go with a pink, or maybe even a darker pink. So something like that. And so you can see how I could just sort of play with it. I'm not really a fan of those glasses on this guy. But again, you can play with any of the glasses that you want if you want to be sort of funny or creative. There's definitely some weird funky looking ones that don't have any lenses at all if you just want to be able to see the cat's eyes through them. And there's some cool ones here that sort of give that vacation vibe. So they don't have to be plain glasses. They can definitely be a little bit more fun. Or maybe here with the angry guy, because now he looks like he's a party cat. You kind of put the glasses on him and it changes the look from angry to party. And so when it comes to lining up glasses, using the arrows on the keyboard is going to be the best way to go, because it's going to make you little micro changes that are going to be a little bit easier to deal with. So something like that actually kind of looks funny on that guy, because now he looks like he's a party animal. And so, you know, you can play with which glasses look best on which cat, you know. Here I got these ones here. And those might be kind of cool. Again, I can change the colors on these ones, so yeah, I kind of like that. I'm going to change the color, but I like the way that these ones fit. And so finding the ones that fit the way that you want is very important. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and make this one black. Make this color really dark. There you go. And then the frame color, let's go ahead and we can stick with that bright pink if we want to, or yellow if we want it to pop out. Kind of like the yellow. If I want to make sure that it's an exact match to this yellow, I can use my little eyedropper tool. That's kind of cool. Here's some colorful ones here. These ones you can go ahead and change the color on. These ones kind of just have a sort of rainbowy, trippy look. That's interesting, right? If you just wanted to go with a cool rainbow look, like this dude. Bring that down, over. Something like that is sort of funny. These are way too big for him, but like, hey, that's kind of funny. Anyways, you can definitely spend a lot of time, as you can tell, playing with this. I can play with this a lot, and you can see there's just so many different types of glasses that you can play with. Here's another one that'll let me change the colors. So maybe for this one, I like that, and now you're gonna want to rotate it so that it lines up with his head. Totally think that's cool. Oh yeah, those look cool. Let's get rid of some of the blue and let's make it the teal. What do you think? I like that teal look, and then we'll get rid of this blue and I'm gonna make that a darker teal. Of course, if I wanted to put palm trees in here, just like that, I totally could. I could pull up some palm trees and overlap them there. The only ones I don't really like are these ones. So I'm not a super fan. Everything else looks pretty solid, but I don't like the rainbow effect, so I can keep playing with it. Again, here's just some black ones if I wanted to just go all black. And be like, uh-oh. And that's why I didn't want to lock these. Okay, bring these black ones down. Ooh, my mouse hates me today. Just stick with the keyboard. No. Alright, so there's just some plain black ones. Don't know how much I'm loving the plain black ones. Here's a pair. And again, I can play with these ones, might be sort of cool. Oh yeah. Bring those down just a little bit. Like, what do I think of those? Those are kind of cool. Might have to change the colors a bit. Maybe make these ones pink, bright pink. Change the maybe. Obviously, I could be playing with this for a long time. Always remember as you're creating these designs that the only thing people are going to see is the final product, so they're not going to be looking to see if you made the right choice in sunglasses. They just want to see that, you know, the design looks done and it looks, you know, good and funny. So you don't have to, you know, spend forever going back and forth over the sunglasses if you don't want to. So, I mean, that looks pretty good there. I could leave it alone if I wanted to put some palm trees in this one too, so it matched that one a little bit more. I mean, that would be an easy thing to do. Again, I could just start layering things. Like, okay, here's a palm tree. It's black. I can shrink it way down, like way down. I can bring it up over these glasses. I can angle it so that it looks like it goes. I can shrink it down even more. And so you can see how you can start to play with this stuff. You'd have to line it up with the bottom of the sunglasses there, but that is how you would go ahead and do that. You'd probably want to zoom in to make this a little bit easier to see, so you can zoom in down there. And then I could go ahead and change that. I would have to crop it like that and go done, and then I would bring this all the way down, and then I would make it even bigger. And so you can see how I'm starting to play with this now, and I could totally you know, just play around and use different palm trees, and you know. And so again, you can recreate this design a zillion times over using pretty much anything, any group of things. So it doesn't even have to be animals. Again, this could be flowers, this could be shells, it could be almost anything that you want, and it just gives it this cool, bright, colored theme. So there's my ColourPop cats. I'm gonna download this transparent background, download. Perfect. Now if I wanted to go ahead and scale this and make new things, I could just go ahead and copy this entire page, remove the cats, but keep the boxes right where they are, and then just keep putting in different things, but keep the basic layout of the boxes the same. And so that's how you could use it kind of as a template going forward. So again, I hope you found this video useful or helpful, and or at least entertaining, and I hope to see you again later. All right, take care. That's it for today's video. If you found this useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.